I'm Rachel Choong. I'm from Liverpool and I am a para badminton player. I compete in the SS6 classification in women's singles, women's doubles and mixed doubles. And you're watching Badminton Unlimited. My dad, he was a huge influence on me starting to play badminton. At the time I was 6 years old, so this was back in 2000. My sister had just started playing at a local club, and then they both encouraged me to pick up a racket and join my sister at this club. The coach was lovely. I still see him on a regular basis, which is great. And he gave me a junior racket, blew up a balloon for me and said, "Oh, just hit that up and down." And from there I was hooked. It was always almost disappointing when I was a junior before I was introduced to para badminton, because I knew I could never be as good as the people who were my age, who were already like a foot taller than me. And I was finding it more and more difficult to compete with them. I was introduced to para badminton from one of my coaches at County, and he said, "Oh, there's a UK para badminton tournament coming up and the short stature event will be in it. Maybe you could have a look into it." And it just kind of flew off from there. I didn't really know what to expect because para badminton was so new to me. I'd never heard of it before, I'd never seen it. My first World Championships was in 2013 in Dortmund, Germany, and I came away with 2 gold medals in the singles and mixed. And well, firstly, that was just quite a shock to me anyway, because going from thinking that I could do quite well in para badminton to all of a sudden being world champion, it was amazing for me to just even comprehend. And then the next World Championships, 2015, Stoke Mandeville in England. It was the first World Championships after we got Paralympic status for Tokyo 2020. So it was already a big tournament. It was getting a little bit more interest as well. To do it, to get the triple on home soil. All of my family was there. You know, some of my friends were there as well. They'd come down to watch. And it was surreal. Even if I wasn't a player, I feel like I would love para badminton anyway, because just the atmosphere, the camaraderie, with also the competitiveness. All the players are an inspiration in their own way, having to overcome the barriers that they've overcome. And players to get so much joy from participating in a sport, I think it's brilliant. So to see it go from quite a small scale, I remember we used to have like European championships and like some tiny sports all in the middle of nowhere, to now being in 2019 alongside the able-bodied World Championships. It blows my mind to think that that's how far the sport has come. We now have Paralympic status as well, which is fantastic. I think the recognition that the sport deserves, it's starting to get. Like, think of the camera as a big plate of food, right? I find that when I'm playing or training, my appetite grows as well. So yeah, I'll just probably be filling my face a lot of the time. Like, don't eat what you can't, just leave it. And I'm just like, no, but Mum, you've put it in front of me, so I'm going to eat it all.
That's Rachel Choong talking about her love for food. In this part of our conversation with the para badminton champion, we find out more about the Brit's life off the court.
My mum's side of the family, she's, well, her mother is from China and her father is from Hong Kong. And within the Chinese community of Liverpool, they had various businesses. But I think the one that really set our family apart from any other business is that we opened an Asian food supermarket. And it was one of the biggest in Liverpool in terms of size. So I grew up in there. I remember I spent a lot of my childhood in the supermarket, so I was always surrounded by Asian food. Liverpool actually has the oldest Chinese communities in Europe, so yeah, I love exploring the Chinese areas of of Liverpool and going to all the restaurants and trying all their food. There's this really amazing Chinese dish, and I love it from my local Chinese restaurant, and it's shredded pork, carrots and green beans on crispy noodles, and I think that's like my favorite dish of all time. I do love that dish. I joke to people because like a lot of people know that I love to eat. I do like putting pictures of what I'm eating on social media, and everyone's always like, oh, why are you not fat? And I said, don't tell anyone, but it's the only reason why I play badminton, it's to keep the weight off. Being from Liverpool, football's obviously very big. I do support Liverpool Football Club. Things like multi-sport events, the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, Commonwealth Games. I almost become a hermit and just stay in the house and I'm just watching TV the whole time because I love watching other different sports. I think athletes like, well, Usain Bolt, because he is like me, he is a multi-medal winning athlete, and he's just dominated his sport for such a long time as well. So he's been an inspiration. He also ended his career at a nice time, I think, while he was still on form. Badminton players, like for me, being English, at the time when I was introduced to the sport, I was looking up towards Nathan Robertson and Gail Ems, and it's quite nice to say that I know them on a more personal level now, so it's nice. People say you shouldn't meet your idols, but mine are pretty nice, the ones I've met, so. In terms of movies, I do love my comedies, so Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell. I also like some sci-fi films as well, so Star Wars. There's one Yoda quote that's great, and he goes, "Judge me by my size, do you?" And I got that on a t-shirt as well, boss. Even comic book sci-fi, so like the Avengers. There was a great scene in Endgame. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. All the girls come together. Gwyneth Paltrow's character, you've got Emily Olsen's character, and they're just bossing it. And I'm pretty sure I screamed when I first saw it in the cinema. It was fantastic.